Welcome back to Amazin But True, a New York Mets podcast from the New York Post. I'm your host, Jake Brown, alongside my co-host, back in the saddle, Nelson Figueroa. Follow us on Twitter at Jake Brown Radio, at Figgy and Wine. Follow the show at Amazin But True. Watch us on that New York Post Sports YouTube page. Find that Amazin But True playlist and listen wherever you get podcasts. Figgy? No, we did not have a montage of the Mets' lone win over the weekend because the rest of the weekend sucked. This team doesn't belong in the same class as the Atlanta Braves, Figgy. And over the weekend, that showed. Where in the first three games, they were outscored 34-3. I saw more competitive baseball when the Bananas took on the Party Animals on Staten Island Saturday. That game was close. That went down to the ninth inning. No Met game was close besides, Sunday, where Kodai Senga has been carrying the Mets. When he pitches, they win. Everyone else is a big question mark. And no disrespect to Jose Quintana, who's thrown a quality start essentially every time he's been out there. Has just got bad luck by no run support. But this Mets team, Biggie, looked lifeless over the weekend. It looks like a team that's, we already know the front office and everyone's throwing in the towel. But it looks like a bunch of players who just are ready to get to Cancun. They're ready for October to get here, to hit the golf course, to hit a vacation, and to get the hell out of here because the Braves just dominated every sense of the word. And, you have their prospects come out of nowhere and throw a gem, and then you got Mets minor leaguers like Danny Reyes get absolutely rocked. For ex-Met prospect Alan Winans gets his first major league win, 7 shutout innings. In that 21-3, Falcons beat the Giants shellacking on Saturday. A couple months ago, Figgy, we thought this was going to be a monster 4-game series. Citi Field was going to be rocking. It was rocking for that 21-3 game with Braves fans. There were 40,000 people there, shockingly, for the husband of this RoboKnit doll giveaway. But the rest of the weekend was unwatchable. God bless you if you went to both Saturday. God bless you if you went to all these games this weekend if you're a Met fan, because this is not baseball worth paying for.
Yeah, the term rock bottom isn't even good enough, right? You're talking about there's nothing you could do to the Braves. It's like you're out of your weight class. It's a heavyweight champion fighting against a featherweight right now, and you're ill-equipped to keep up with them. Yes, they won the last game, salvaged it, but it was a 6-run inning where it seemed like the Braves just didn't care. They were tired from running all the bases the day before. And, you want to talk about lifeless. It's even the guys that you're bringing in, you could see the flaws immediately, right? Every time a reliever comes in, you know what he can and can't do. Ottavino came in last night's game, and you're sitting there going, okay, somebody's going to get on. He's going to walk somebody. They're going to steal a base, and here we go, right? That's exactly how it was going to play out. Drew Smith came in for Brooks Raley, and what'd you say? Oh, now Drew Smith's going to get rocked, and he's going to give up the lead, and it's going to happen again. You just had that feeling as soon as Kodai Senga came out that, oh, Jesus, there's too much time for something to go wrong. And it didn't. They won a game. Kudos. Tip your cap. Kodai Senga has been the lone bright spot of the season when it comes to pitching. David Robertson, of course, was holding his own until he gets traded. But when you look at Kodai Senga, I would absolutely love the fact that he was a little geeked up in the beginning. You kept hearing about how he leads baseball in 3-ball counts. He was all around the strike zone, got himself into trouble, and one pitch that Ozuna hits down the line was the difference right there, 3-run score. But then he went into lockdown mode after that. He kind of relaxed a little bit and allowed his stuff to work and play out, and it gave up 2 more hits, had I think it was 6 strikeouts, and it looked like the Kodai Senga that we've seen in the first half. So it was a nice to see him get punched in the face and still find a way to come back and put up a good showing and, left there with the lead. But there's nothing to really talk about baseball wise that is of any interest anywhere. I mean, honestly, there's no,
Here's the issue, Figgy, is that the Mets are going to have a big free agency, do a lot. We know that, get better. But they don't look anywhere in the same hemisphere as the Atlanta Braves. Like, they could sign 4 or 5 pitchers and still not be in the same stratosphere. And while they could have a great offseason, that gap looks like it's nowhere near to close. And that's what's alarming. And we expect a bright offseason, bright future prospect, blah, blah, blah. But, man, the Braves are just a major league team right now, and the Mets are a minor league team. And I don't know if a great offseason is making that closer for next season.
Yeah, I don't think it's become more apparent, right? The Mets went out there and spent all the money, and you thought World Series contender. And everything that happened throughout the first half of the season, they're going to get on track. Guy get hurt, guy was hurt, guy was out for the season. They're going to get on track. They're going to get on track. They're going to have a nice win streak here. And it never happened. I mean, they were, what was it? At one point, 3.5 games out, and then they got swept by the Braves. And then they got swept by the Phillies right after that. Remember, that was where it all turned and it got very dark very quick. So when you thought you had a chance and you kept saying, if these guys just play to the back of their baseball cards, which is the worst phrase on the planet, that they would be okay. They would be able to, get right back into this. And this 4-game series would have showed who they were, right? You'd been within punching distance. It couldn't have been any further. It reminded you of the days where the Braves won like 12 straight National League East titles, and the Mets were just irrelevant. There was no way to overcome what the Braves had. And that Braves team or formula is there again. It's a scary thought because all these young players that they have, all these young studs who are performing, who they have 4 guys with over 25 home runs that will have over 30 home runs here and just, give them a week or two. Matt Olson, where they let Freddie Freeman go, and you're thinking, how could you do that? You have to pay him $370 million to keep him. He's a Brave for life. This is where the whole thing with Alonso comes in, right? Where you have that kind of talent, you have that kind of player, and they were able to go and get Olson for what? Prospects? It's laughable because they make that
homers, 43 homers, and the homer on Sunday was the second longest homer at Citi Field since Michael Conforto.
But you know what? For him, that's, I think, the 6th or 7th time he's hit a ball over 450 feet. Like, it's a joke right now what he's doing in baseball. He is right now clearing away for me the MVP of the National League. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he's doing it. You're watching his at bats, and you're just sitting there going, even the foul balls that he hits, you're like, oh my God, it's gonna hit another home run. He's gonna hit another home run. He is on that level where everything looks so easy that he does. His first base play. I remember on the broadcast, I was saying the metrics say he's not a, top defender, but you watch him play and he looks like a top defender. Everything the Braves do, they make it look easy. They're stealing bases. They're hitting balls into the upper deck on Saturday with Albies, who they got for pennies on the dollar. Just think about it this way. I think he's making half of what McNeil makes.
They're getting everyone, it feels like, a pennies on it. Even Austin Riley seems like a discount. Like, they're not paying a ton for anyone.
That deal for Austin Riley may be one of the greatest fleecings of all time, where Rafael Devers has worse numbers than him career-wise.
10 years, $212 million.
Yep. Austin Riley has better numbers than Rafael Devers across the board, and Rafael Devers is making $100 million more. I'll say that again, $100 million more in the same deal. You can't explain to me how they go and they're both negotiating with their teams respectively, and they sit and go, here, and I believe Devers got his deal first. And he got $100 million more. And they said, hey, Austin, we'll give you $100 million less. And he was like, sweet.
And on top of that, he's donating like 5% to the Atlanta Braves Foundation. You know what that foundation is? It's the Kick the Mets Ass Foundation. That's where the 5% is going, right up the Mets ass.
So keep going. It's just even the retreads of them going out and getting relievers that you've seen somewhere before. Oh yeah, they used to be Mets too. They get retreads and they come and they put on an Atlanta Brave uniform and they look like they're just dominant. It's just an immediate, like, just put the logo across my chest, I become Superman. Every one of these guys, it was just outclassed, outmanned, outnumbered. It would look like, the Mets were running in quicksand, and you look up and you're like, who your favorite player is, the second baseman.
Yeah, he's only got a 44.2 ERA leading.
Yeah, but he had a 0. History. He had a 0 at the, it all went to ruins. He could have been our best pitcher. Anyway, you have, Mendick, you have Stewart, Ortega, Aruz, and you're sitting here going, where the hell is Mauricio?
No, August 19th. We got 5 days.
My thing, Jake, is that if you have an owner who has these pockets, what the hell do you care about
I
paying this
agree,
guy
but
a
at
little bit
this
earlier?
point, now it doesn't make a difference at this point. You're 12 games under. I would just wait the week. But this is a moot point. Should have been done in July. What it should have been done is when the Mets were still in a race. And the whole frustrating part about it is going into August is all these wild card teams started losing like crazy, where
Yeah.
the leader is just 5 games over 500. Like, so if the Mets were to keep some of the band together, they probably win more of these games. Maybe they're within 4 or 5. Instead, even with all these losses, 8.5 is a lot, but they were 7.5 for a while, so they haven't
They
lost a
got to
ton of
6.5.
ground.
They were at 6.5 before the Braves series started. They were at 6.5, I believe it was. And I'm sitting there and I said to them, I'm watching the standings and I go, wait a minute, there's still 6.5. How is this even possible? And they were on a 6-game losing streak. So when they were losing, everybody else was losing. So could you imagine? This is the biggest what if. I'll go back to what Steve Cohen said in the press conference when they looked at it, and whoever they is, because there's always a guy that looks at it from just a pure numbers perspective. And they said they had a 12 to 14% chance of making the playoffs. Well, then shake the damn magic 8 ball and try again. Don't sit here and tell me about a percentage over your belief in your players, because you said yourself, we haven't clicked on all cylinders yet. They actually started playing well towards the trade deadline, right? They started playing well, and you knew that they all knew we've got to turn this around if we're going to get help, if we're going to compete together and try and do this. Because when, to a man, all the guys that came over and signed with the intention of, wow, they're putting together a really good team and I want to be a part of this. Then you started ripping pieces apart and wondering why the heart and soul of this team looks gone. Everybody is, their head spinning, and you're hearing reports about Clubhouse, the chaos in the clubhouse, and there's animosity, and this person doesn't like that person, and they don't get along, and team chemistry happens. I don't know too many losing teams that are like, I love being with these guys all year long and getting our asses kicked. No, team chemistry happens, and you hear all about how much they love each other when they're winning, when they win championships. That's when you hear about team chemistry and how important it is.
And Figgy, that was the big story over the weekend. Of course, drama in Mets land as they keep losing and losing and losing, and more of these kind of stories might come out as we start to learn what the hell happened to these 2023 Mets, because something is going on behind the scenes. Well, we might know one thing, where a Met told our own New York Post Mike Puma that Verlander was a diva who was detached from his Mets teammates and complained about how the team's analytics department was not at the level as the one he worked with during his first stint with the Astros. A lot of mayhem, and more of this may come out as the season comes to a close here, Figgy, but this might have been part of the reason they traded Verlander and Scherzer. Who knows? Maybe they didn't want the young guys learning from these guys. Who knows? But this could be even uglier, but it seemed like a mess these first 4 months with those two together.
Yeah, well, I remember when Max Scherzer first came along, right? And everyone had talked about how different it was to have a guy with a winning pedigree being the leader. And they said the same thing about DeGrom. Remember, as he was leaving out the door, how he was detached, right? He was doing his own thing. He really didn't, people would watch what he did, but nobody really hung out with him or did things with him. Max Scherzer was more of kind of like the ringleader. He led by example, and then he would go back and you could see him talking with Taijuan Walker and Bassett in the dugout about how they pitch certain guys and looking at the iPads, and everybody seemed to feed off that, right? I think when it comes to calling Verlander a diva, tough, honestly. Like, when you have a superstar player who's coming off a Cy Young, who has done everything in his career, his third Cy Young, including won a World Series, going first ballot Hall of Fame, he's going to do things a little bit differently. It doesn't mean everybody has to be the same. And if your expectations are that he's supposed to take other guys by the hand and show them the way, that's not necessarily how he's trying to still get it done at age 40 at a very high level. He's not trying to peter out and just give you whatever he's got and be okay with that. So whatever it is that he needs to do to get himself ready every 5th day and to keep himself at, the upper echelon, he's going to do. that does not mean like a guy like Tyler McGill, who we thought would take that next step, right? Big, tall right-hander, has some of the same attributes that these other guys have: power fastball, good breaking ball, ability to throw a changeup at any time. You thought Tyler McGill would take off to the next level, and all we saw was regression every start, even in AAA. He's hard to watch right now because he's so lost. So to blame that on anybody, or to try and point at fingers at one man, or even those two guys, no one, and no manager especially, sits there and says, I'm going to treat everybody equal. And the superstars, because they've earned their stripes, are going to get treated a little differently. And if they don't want to go out for batting practice and shag, and if they don't want to go and sit in a meeting that the analytics aren't for them, they don't adhere to what they're normally used to doing, well, they had success doing what they've done before. You bring them into an environment where you're trying to get your analytics up to par with some of the great teams in the league, and he's telling you that it's not the same. Then who the hell are you to say that he's wrong? He's telling you because he's been a part of it. His career changed paths as he became an Astro. And you could talk about the cheating scandal all you want, but remember, him and Garrett Cole in that rotation had career years and signed extensions, and Cole went on to $300 million with the Yankees. It was because of the way that they were pitching, looking at how the rest of baseball was pitching to all these guys. And what have we seen? Baseball got used to the Matt Harveys of the world, 100-mile-an-hour fastball with 93-mile-an-hour slider. When Harvey first came up and doing that, you were like, oh my God, it was like him and Strasburg were the two guys that came up, and you're like, wow, these are some unbelievable arms. By 2015, so that was 2012, right? 2013 was the All-Star game where he started it. Then he winds up getting hurt. 2015, so that's 3 seasons later, he's not even the best pitcher on his own team, right? DeGrom starts taking the step forward. Syndergaard is unbelievable because he's throwing 100 with movement and everything else. And now all of a sudden, it's average stuff, what Matt Harvey was bringing to the table. So for those old school guys who maybe didn't have that plus stuff, but Verlander, of course, used to be able to turn it up a notch and pitch a little bit differently. Scherzer could pitch backwards at any time. Now you're sitting here and you're wondering why things went wrong and pointing fingers and looking for stories. And this is what I've always said about New York media, and it almost kills me that I'm a part of it now. It is so hard to write a story unless you're trying to get like a scoop or an insight. And with all these unnamed sources, that is such a cop-out. And I get it. You have to respect the process. But in this day and age of social media and sensationalism, you can sit there and say, I know something because I know it, and I love Sal Licata to death. But saying that Pete Alonso is an issue without having a name or without having an instance, just saying you know it isn't good enough. Isn't good enough. It's like Evan Roberts a month or two back when Tampa Bay was 18-3 at home and he's calling them cheaters. Yeah, it's great for the ratings, but there's no basis to it. So you're going out there to just get clicks. You're going out there just to give out information. You're going out there for people to read your stories. I get that. But inside of that clubhouse, I know because I've been a part of it. Santana was above and beyond every single pitcher, right? We had Santana, we had Pedro. I wanted to stand there and learn everything that they did. I watched their bullpens religiously. I watched the way that they held their pitches. I played catch with them. Hey, you need to play catch? I'll play catch with you. I don't care if I played catch 3 times that day. I wanted to learn a little bit more. That's me taking the onus on myself. That's not me saying, I hope they work with me. They don't give a damn about me. They give a damn about taking care of the opponent and making them look foolish. But Santana did things that game ready, which is a massaging thing for his arm on days that he didn't pitch. And I would say to the training staff, hey, can I get the game ready? And like, oh no, it's only for lefties. And I start laughing. I go, you're so full of shit. I know there's a different, side of it. And why can't we use it? And like, well, that's his, his regimen was different. His training was different. That doesn't make him a diva. That makes him an upper echelon pitcher. So a diva is someone who says, I'm used to getting it my way and I don't care, but their performance doesn't. A diva is a diva because they are upper echelon of performing, even the singers, right? You call them a diva because they are the best of the best, and whatever they need, whether it's blue M&Ms or, pretzels that don't have any salt on them, you get them what they need because you want them performing at the highest level. So I don't buy that. I don't respect that. And I think the more and more that you hear about this stuff without names being added to it, to me, it's just made up rumors.
Yeah, and both of us, we're buddies with Sal, so we're not going to tweet him and be like, you freaking idiot. But like, it was a little bizarre, especially the day before, because he was on SNY saying you have to extend Pete Alonso for life. And within 24 hours later, there was something that he heard where he did the complete opposite and said, he's a clubhouse problem. You have to trade him. So we don't know who said it. We don't know. Martino said something. Someone else said something to him. He heard something. But from all the accounts we have heard and seen from the people that we know and talk to, we haven't heard that side. We've heard, he's a good clubhouse guy. He does a lot for the community. He's a good person, good family. So we have not heard, we've seen the maybe immature side with the humping the rails and maybe not being the true leader in terms of the vocal leader. Maybe that's accurate. But clubhouse problem is not something either of us have heard.
Yeah, no, and I think it was funny because I put out a tweet during the week early on about who should be the next Mets captain, and the results were a little bit shocking to me. Number one, Lindor had 32% of the vote. 28% of the vote went to no one. There should be no captain. 26% of the vote went to Pete Alonso, and 11% of the vote went to Brandon Nimmo. And so immediately, these are the same people, the same fans who are crushing Lindor at every turn about how he's not a superstar. And yet, if you look at his numbers, he is top 3 in every category, not top 3 in the National League East, not top 3 in the National League, top 3 in baseball in almost every single category. And yet you're sitting here saying he's not worth the money. He's not a superstar. He's not a superstar. I beg to differ, because one of the other things that superstars do, or leaders on a team do, is they're accountable. And even when he was at the lowest of lows in a Met uniform, he was front and center of that camera. He was top step. Even when he made an out or he struck out, he'd be top step rooting on his teammates to come through with a RBI single or something like that. And we've always said that about him. That's something you really, really need when it comes to, how your clubhouse is run. You need a voice. You need someone who says, this is the standard that we are setting ourselves to. And when you have a lot of superstars from different places and there's pull from every place, it would be really hard to make somebody the captain who doesn't have the same tenure as 2 Hall of Fame pitchers, right? Because they could just say, well, go do your own thing. I don't care. But that's not what good teams do. Good teams find a way to blend. And do you voice your opinions? Absolutely. Do you voice them in the media? Never. The Yankees have had a steel curtain, but you don't get to see what happens. And the first time we've seen something like this, or where it's changed just slightly, was a guy who just came to the Yankees in Middleton, right? He comes over from the White Sox and immediately starts running his mouth about how the White Sox do things so differently and how great it is to have structure and how great it is to have rules. And you're sitting there, and while you love it, you're also saying, oh my God, this guy is running his mouth. So immediately when anything ever comes out bad about the Yankees, say in the offseason, if they don't make the playoffs and everything else, who do you think I'm looking for? Probably going to be this Middleton guy who likes to run his lips. Or did he learn his lesson? Because all of baseball turned around and was like, dude, there's an unwritten code, right? It's like a bro code. You don't go around running your mouth about things. It is what it is.
Don't tell Max Scherzer that. You don't tell Max Scherzer. He ran his mouth a little bit.
But I think also at the same time, Max Scherzer feels like he was deceived into what the plan was. Okay, he's
not wrong. He's not wrong.
He could have. Right. He could have picked anywhere to sign. Right. He could have picked Philadelphia. He could have probably picked Atlanta to go down and sign with. Would he have gotten $43 million? No. Well, that's the difference, right? But the money was probably the number one issue, but he's already had money, right? Do you want to be 43 million and miserable, or do you want to have 35 million and know that your team's going to have a chance to be in the playoffs and World Series every year?
He chose 43 in the richest owner in the sport with the hope that it'll be a World Series team, and that has not been the case. See, you were, Sal said what he said, but you were in the camp a few weeks ago say you have to listen to offers, and I would consider trading Pete Alonso. Has your opinion changed on that? Would you still listen to offers and potentially trade him, or do you sign him long-term, or do you just keep him one more year and let him go into free agency and then see what happens then?
I love Pete Alonso. I think he has been a fantastic Met. I think the numbers are undeniable, the power numbers, the production numbers. But at the same time, if you're trying to revamp things and you're still looking to get more prospects and get more players, that there is not that huge fall off from the A to B squad, then you dangle him at least and see what you get. But what happens is everybody knows you're playing poker with it. They're going to not give you the best offer. They're going to give you something that's, make you think a little bit, but you might not get the best offers in the world because they don't think you're serious about doing it. Remember, we talked about this one of our first podcasts when Brody Van Wagenen was dangling Noah Syndergaard around. And you're thinking, how could you possibly do that? He's young, he's talented, he's poised to take that next step in upper echelon, but you would have got back so much on the return. And now you're sitting here going, why the hell didn't we do that? Right? So I'm not saying that Pete's going to fall off a cliff or anything of that nature, but if you're going to be able to afford Pete Alonso regardless, and if you're not locking him up to an extension now, Juan Soto is a much better hitter up and down than Pete Alonso. Would you agree?
I mean, maybe, but his numbers haven't shown that. But maybe pure hitter, maybe. But
his numbers haven't shown that. What numbers haven't shown that? Are we talking about the same Juan Soto?
He's not this. I mean, average wise, yes, he's better than Pete, but he's not hitting the home runs at the rate Pete is hitting.
And that's all right. And he's also not striking out at the rate that Pete strikes out at. And he also went from batting 212 or whatever, and I believe he's got to be closer to 250, 260, 270. He's normally
268 right now.
Right. But if you go back and you look, he was batting like 1 something early on, where the Padres were again to talk like the Mets. So what's going on with all this money, all these players? Why aren't they doing it? Juan Soto, especially Juan Soto with the Washington Nationals, who was coming off of winning a World Series, and you let your number one all-time franchise player and Bryce Harper go, and you let Scherzer go, then and you're trading Scherzer, then why wouldn't you dangle Pete around? Because we didn't think Juan Soto would be available. And remember I said, the Mets should try and get him. And then 2 weeks later, he gets traded to the Padres.
I don't trust it. It can't be Epler or him doing any dangling. Hopefully it's not Epler, but I guess you listen to offers. I just think it sends a bad message. You need that. Those power hitters don't grow on trees. I just think of the fan base, you're sell to the back. Oh, look, we got all these top prospects, but now we have Mark Vientos playing first base, or we're signing someone in free agency. Like, it's sending a piss poor message if you trade Pete Alonso that you really are punting next year. You can say all you want, you're fielding competitive team. Mm-hmm. You trade your franchise leader for prospects, you are fully in punt mode for 2024, and you are fully have nobody locking in season tickets because no one wants to see that garbage product if you trade.
Correct. But remember,
but if you get blown away, you got to do it. But I'm not, prospects aren't blown. Like, if you're getting a number 1 or 2 starter and you're getting maybe prospects, you might consider it. I just don't think the Mets will end up getting that.
And that's the thing, right? Because what are you saying? If you're saying it's a punt, or just you're going to field a competitive team and you're not looking for World Series aspirations because of what the projections say or the websites say, then if you got a chance to take Pete Alonso and get a frontline starter, and I don't mean like a kid who's on the cusp of making the major leagues. I'm talking about getting somebody now that you can say, hey, this guy plugs in and we're going to be able to have this guy. And then you bring him back in 2025 because you're going to pay him whatever the money is, right, to bring him back. So the polar bear comes back to the cave. It's a huge story. Of course, the money is going to be overwhelming. But if you're going to do that anyway, and you can do that and still get 4 or 5 guys that are going to make your team better, that you never see DJ Stewart or Danny Mendick again, then you kind of think about it, don't you? I mean, it's just a thought. And again,
I would hope that we never see them again with keeping Pete Alonso. I would hope this was just an F up, and they're not anywhere in sight anyway.
Let me just keep going. So the Ortegas, the Aruzes,
that's enough.
Those guys. But I'm just saying, you put it out there and you want to see what interest there is. How much would you be willing to give me for this? And you never know what you get on the return, because if you're going to bring Pete back and you tell him this in the trade, we're going to bring you back. We're going to do everything in our power to bring you back. This made our ball club better. They did it to 2 Hall of Famers. Pete's good.
Yeah, I mean, I
He's
guess
not a
you
Hall
could
of
end up
Fame.
you could
He's
end
not
up
Hall of
still
Fame
bringing
good
him
yet.
back. I guess after next year, that could happen. I guess you don't see that happen often, but maybe.
No, you don't, because what's another one of the worries? The Yankees wake up and sign him over the Yankee Stadium, and Pete's in Yankee Stadium hitting 40, 50 home runs a year.
Please,
I get it, but those are calculated risks that if you have a marketable product, you have a commodity that people want, and power numbers are still everything. I mean, he's going to hit 40 home runs, over 100 RBIs, and even, he was hurt and it was a down season for him. I mean, you're not going to locking him up is going to take more than 25 million a year, right?
Probably.
I mean, the max, the highest paid first baseman is Miguel Cabrera at 32 million, but Miguel Cabrera is a first ballot Hall of Famer who has been doing it for 19 years.
8 years, 250. I mean, 8 years, 300. Might be something like that in that range. Well, we'll see. I think I'm not against seeing what you get for him. I'm just not in the team of trading. I'm Amazin But True. Jake Brown, Nelson Figueroa, at Amazin But True, at Jake Brown Radio, at Figgy NY. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Watch the New York Post Sports YouTube page. The Mets will face the Pirates at Citi Field this week. The only reason to go is to play taps on your way with the Edwin Diaz trumpet bobblehead giveaway on Tuesday. So I'll go to that one. I'm considering going Thursday for a good cause. It's the NYPD NYFD game that got moved to next Thursday. I'm curious if David Wright stayed in town. He doesn't come to New York often. I wonder if he bolted out of here and is coming to the makeup or not. We'll see about that. And then Thursday through Sunday at the Cardinals, we'll have another podcast drop on Thursday. But Figgy, it's been a while since we've done it. So coming up next on Amazin But True, we'll take a trip to the Nelson Figueroa Spanish Academy.
Bienvenido, mi gente. This is the Nelson Figueroa Spanish Academy, where Jake Brown is attempting his damn bestest to learn a little bit of Spanish. And it comes in handy, Jake, does it not?
It does. I do love Latina women, and I can never speak their language to them. So I try my hardest and usually fail.
Yeah, well, one thing that's difficult to watch has been this team. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to watch those interactions with those Latina women. So we're going to start out with difficult to watch this team. Ready?
Not really, but go.
Difícil ver a este equipo.
Jesus Christ. Difícil?
Difícil.
Difícil, like Mike DeFelice. Difícil. Difícil next.
Ver a este equipo.
Okay, slow down. Veil, like
ver.
Okay, ver, like gare, but ver. Okay.
A este equipo.
A este equipo.
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 Not equipo. Equipo.
Equipo.
Yeah.
Difícil ver a este equipo.
One more time.
Difícil ver a este equipo.
A little better. You sound like, you literally sound like the voice on Google Translate.
I say it like, I feel like saying it faster makes me more Spanish, but it doesn't. Difícil ver a este equipo. What does that mean again?
Difficult to watch this team.
Difficult to watch this team. Okay,
I think no truer words are spoken. One of the things that we've been talking about is remember the thought, the dream, how this team would be fighting for first place after, for this weekend with the Braves. Well, they're actually fighting to stay out of last place. So
they entered Sunday in last place because they won. They're a half game up in the Nationals. If they were to lose Monday night against the Pirates at Citi Field with the Nationals off, they will be tied for last place with the Nationals. What a scary thought at this point.
Last place. Último lugar.
Ultimo?
No, not like Timo Perez.
No, I love Timo Perez. I had his jersey. I had his jersey, World Series 2000 jersey.
God, what that must have fit like. By the way, the football jersey looks fantastic on you.
It fit me, right? It's not as tight as you were expecting. This is the soccer jersey. This is the soccer one, by the way. This isn't football. This is a soccer.
That is football.
It is football. I washed it, so it is tighter now on the titties a little bit, but it's still.
Why do you have titties?
Oh, I'm fat. People got titties. For a fat guy, I don't have huge breasts though. Like there's some fat people I know who have like Like they just have just crazy titties. Like
Atención, atención. Este es
how do you say
clase de español.
titties in
Este es el clase de español, señor.
Heighties?
See, this is why the ADD, HDD medication needs to be on order.
Oh, I know how to say titties. It's tetas. It's tetas. That's tetas.
So back to último lugar.
Excuse me.
Último lugar.
Ultimo. Oh, like Peter Luger's. Pete Lagar. Okay. Pete, like, or Juan Lagares without the ES, right?
It's amazing how your brain works, dude.
Ultimo Lagar.
Último lugar.
Ultimo Lagar. Ultimo Lagar. Ultimo Lagar. Ultimo Lagar. Hey, Ultimo Lagar.
That's enough out of you.
Lagar. All right. Ultimo. So we got difícil ver este equipo en Ultimo Lagar.
And last but not least, this is more of a personal one for you, Jake.
It is.
It's apparently time for you to get another roommate.
Yes, unfortunately, September 1st, I need a final roommate. So, any Amazin But True listeners or viewers, no, I'm doing advertising on the podcast. It's a little pricey, so you gotta have some money. But it does have in-unit laundry, dishwasher, your own balcony, gym, rooftop, sky lounge. You get a mini roof, a big roof, a gym, a lounge, a doorman, elevator, safe building, Astoria. You know, it's $2,000
and
after
Jake Brown.
utilities and me, and you live with me, which I'd maybe not want to live with someone who listens to this, but $2,000 after utilities. So if you got that kind of money, let me know. If you know someone, put out the word that I'm looking for September 1st, 1-year lease for a roommate, and you got to make, you know, a certain amount or have a guarantor, as they say. So thank you.
Okay, now back to the program. Need a roommate. Necesito un compañero de cuarto.
I thought we were going to do Craigslist ad. No, I haven't resorted to Craigslist yet. All right, say it again.
Necesito un compañero.
Un compañero
de cuarto.
Un compañero? What is it?
No, where are you going? Where did this twang come from?
Finding Nero. Oh, necesito un compañero.
Necesito un compañero.
Compañero.
Ñero.
Okay.
De cuarto.
De cuarto.
Where's a cuarto?
Gordo Ramsey. Necesito un compañero de cuarto.
One more time.
Necesito un compañero de cuarto. Necesito un compañero de cuarto. Necesito un compañero de cuarto.
Not bad. Not bad. That's one of your best improvements over the course of saying it 8 times.
When I write it out, it makes it easier. So I think that's a B+ effort.
That is cheating. I'll allow you to do it because we're at this point of the season that we got to give a little bit of help. So you see how I'm not a diva and I wanted to help you to get better.
Wow.
I allowed you to use your own resources, your own tools to get you to a better place. So
we aren't divas. We're elitist here on Amazin But True, as I was called by that guy in Minnesota, Joe in Minnesota.
Remember that?
He doesn't like that I brought up chicken parm all the time. Clearly is a vegan or not Italian or just hates life. Hates chicken parm. We'll close out Amazin But True next. All right. If you're listening to this, let us know who that guy was that one time. If you're a loyal listener and you know this without going to the reviews, you deserve a cookie at least. Or maybe I'll give you one. I'll give you a Headless Howie bobblehead. Here you go. You can have Headless Howie. Let us know who the name of that guy was who hated chicken parm and hated me. Called me elitist. As that says, adios to episode 171 of Amazin But True, our Mets podcast on the New York Post.
Thanks to Andrew Hartz and you, Jake, for producing the show. Speaking of shows, how was the 50 Years of Hip Hop show?
It was good. The issue was it was a marathon. It started like 6 p.m., which I didn't go in at 6, and it went till like 2:30 in the morning. And they saved Run DMC for last. You felt bad because a bunch of people left. I left before Run DMC. I'm sorry I missed it, but I was just exhausted. And it went so long, but there were just so many legends. It was great. Derek Jeter was brought out by Kid Capri.
Yeah.
You know, there were some special guests. Ashanti showed up with Fat Joe, which was awesome because she was kind of a special guest, and she still looks incredible. Shout out to Ashanti. Jake Brown Radio on Instagram. If
no, that's not what we're doing here. First,
I have no chance, but
that's called shooting your shot.
But getting into the stadium was a national disaster.
Right.
It took people like over an hour to get in. They at some point it went till 2 a.m., but they closed food. Like you couldn't even get water. Like there was only one line open, like the whole stadium, and it was packed. So it was terribly run by the Yankees. horrible job. I heard Jonas Brothers Saturday and Sunday were also horribly done. People couldn't get in. So bad on the Yankees, bad on Yankee Stadium. Did not do a good job handling it.
Okay, so during this week on our Friday show at WPIX, I was asked to put my top 5 hip hop artists. I gave Jay-Z, Wu-Tang, Biggie, Tupac, Eminem.
That's a good.
Those are my 5.
See, mine's gonna be different because you're an old man. I'm a little younger, so it's a little bit.
Who you going with? List. Little Yachty?
No, but I'm going to put Drake in my top 5.
Drake. Yes, Drake. 5. So Drake. So that was my thing. My Drake's catalog, of course, is undeniable. So Drake was one. But who am I taking out for Drake?
Well, that's the thing. Like, to me, I didn't listen. I'm younger, so I didn't listen to Tupac. So he's not going to be in my top 5 because I don't listen to him. So I mean, he's got classic, but he's not on my list. So Drake's in there, Jay-Z's in there, Eminem. You
taking out Biggie for who?
To me, Lil Wayne was big for me growing up. That's a tough one. I could probably put Lil Wayne in there.
Those literally were my 6 and 7s right there because I'm like I could put them in easily, and I could, but I think undeniable. My number 1 was Jay-Z. So
yeah, is this 4? And then honestly, I didn't listen to Biggie either, so Biggie wouldn't be in my top 5. My 5th would be tough. Like Fabulous might be in my 5th spot as a New York
personal guy. Exactly. I get that. That's a personal take there.
I love Fab, but the 5th spot is hard. But I might put it might be Drake number 1, number 2 Jay-Z, number 3 Eminem, number 4 Lil Wayne, number 5 Fabulous, but Ludacris's approaches there for me too.
I heard a lot of Ludacris when we're talking about
it is a tough list. But do you want to close out the rest of the show while we're here?
Yeah, we might as well. Well, subscribe to Amazin But True on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Watch all the episodes. Find that Amazin But True playlist. We'll be on it. Give us a thumbs up below on YouTube and comment your thoughts. What are you watching besides the Mets for the rest of the Mets season? No, I'm kidding. Are you watching this team down the stretch? And what are you looking for? Follow us on Twitter at Amazin But True, at FiggyNY, and for Ashanti at Jake Brown Radio.
Yes, Ashanti still, I mean, doesn't age. I mean, it's unbelievable when these people don't age. But a fun weekend. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Savannah Bananas experience I went to on Saturday. I might have enjoyed it too much.
Did you explain to them that you didn't know how to eat a banana?
A balaler. Now, yeah, still. If you listen to the show a while, you did discover me eating a banana and struggling to open it. So luckily they throw bananas in the crowd, which is cool. Luckily I didn't throw one. They didn't watch me eat it on the big screen because it would have been embarrassing. They struck out a guy and started throwing munchkins in the crowd. They give out, and I might have to use it today. They gave out little, and I'm not gonna lie, I kept going in and out to get more of them little $2 Dunkin' gift cards. So I stacked up. I got a whole I got $6. I could buy myself a large coffee now with my $6. Hopefully they'll use more than one at one time. Hopefully they didn't expire the next day. Okay, October 31st. Good till Halloween. Nice. Great experience. Tough ticket. Apparently it's a couple hundred resale, but they're only 25 if you get them. But their waiting list is over 900,000 people, which is like insanity. So it's kind of like the Globetrotters baseball version, but on crack, because every like pitch they do dances. The umpire was nonstop twerking, which was hilarious. The umpire was hilarious. They had the guy on the stilts up at the plate. And the drama was that a fan, if they catch the ball, it's an out. Yes. The guy on the tall sticks, what do you call him? Stilts.
Yeah,
stilt guy hits a foul ball and a fan catches it. So like he's out. Yeah. So stilt guy was out and he's a banana. So you got your own player out. My thought is I want to be part of an out in a game. So the problem is they shun you. You literally get booed by the whole stadium if you catch a animal foul ball, you're fine. But if you catch a banana foul ball, you're like shunned out of the building. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I want that pressure, but I very much want to catch an out. So that's a cool element that maybe the Mets should do these last 6 weeks. They're throwing out Danny Mendick as pitcher. Why not have fans cause out, make the game go quicker?
Because that would only be the guys by the apple that could catch it. But anyway, I remember when I did an MLB Network show and they were asking about ways to speed up the game. This was before the pitch clock was instituted. And I said, I said this is something that would never happen. But could you imagine it's called the home field advantage, right? The visiting team is up and they hit a foul ball, but you get 2 foul balls. On the second foul ball, somebody catches in the stands and it'd be an out. And they were like, oh, that would never happen. They go, can you imagine the chaos? I go, yes. Sign up for the chaos, because fans would be interacting and trying to keep them from catching the ball or helping them catch the ball. So instead of sitting there on their phones, it'd be more interactive because they could help in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I definitely had to
and the
pay a
Bananas
lot more.
did it.
Definitely had to pay a lot more attention than I would to a Mets game right now, because ball comes. I mean, I was right by the netting on deck circle, so it was a little tough. It'd have to be a high, short pop up, but you never know. So good time there. Definitely recommend if you're able to pull it off or deep in your wallet to go at least see it one time. It's definitely worth it. Being the elitist I am, of course, I did not pay for it. So just throw that up. Bowling. Put Jim Jones on the list. I'm just kidding. All right, we'll be back on Thursday after the Mets end up in last place if they end up losing to the Pirates, who at one point they were fighting each other in the wild card, and both of them are falling into irrelevancy. So enjoy the games. You see it Tuesday for Edwin Diaz trumpet bobblehead. Catch Figgy and Pix 11 at 7 p.m. Now, if there's a rain delay on the 25th, I'm co-hosting with you, so I'm doing my rain dance the night before. But if there's no rain in the forecast, it's not happening. But I hope to at some point be invited as a guest, because
no, that's definitely gonna happen. Remember, your catalog is very long, so you can talk any sport. Where you are on the very short list right now, guests when we start pulling guests in. We had Nick Chituo, the Yankee fan, and it was very hard on network television because you didn't know it was live.
A lot.
Yes, and he dropped one or some kind of reference, and it was a scary moment for us because we're like, all right, now we're gonna get canceled. This is great, but needless to say, I'm not worried about you, and I know I've mentioned it before that you can handle yourself in any element. So it'll be fun to have you on, and I'm praying for a rain delay because this way we get to do our thing together and have some fun.
That would be incredible, yeah. And I'll wear the blue blazer, the classic blue blazer will look great on television. So we'll be back Thursday. Check out a new episode. Ed Kranepool will be on soon. Stay tuned for that. And Figgy, they won Sunday, so I guess we got to close it. And they're not in last place right now.
Right now.
So 3-2-1.
Let's go Mets.
This is pain.